Steve Jobs would hate today's Apple. He would hate it. Look, this is somebody who would say how his dad, and take the story with a grain of salt, he would say how his dad would teach him that when you're building a fence, you don't only paint or finish properly the front of the fence that people see. You also finish properly and take care of the backside, the part that people don't see. Because you have to take pride in the product you're making, and you have to make it well. And you'll know if it's half-baked, if it's half done properly, and you'll know if it's done properly. So you do it right. You finish the product. You do a full product. Apple is not doing that with the iPhone 16. They did not do that. And we've touched on that in a previous video, but basically, you don't speak for however long it was in the keynote about AI when you're not even releasing it when people will have the phones in their hands. You're supposed to be rolling out some AI features this month in October, and then more AI features from the iPhone are going to be rolled out over 2025. Since when does Apple do this? Where's Apple that Steve founded? Where is it? The one that takes pride in giving you an amazing product. Do you remember Steve Jobs when he was on stage and he was like, "We don't ship junk. We don't ship junk." Where'd that go? Where is it? How about, yeah, the hardware is good. How about iOS? How's iOS 18? How many of you have an older iPhone? Okay? Not an iPhone 16. I have an iPhone 15 Pro. I'm noticing, to me, it seems like the battery doesn't last as long on the iPhone 15 Pro, last year's phone. Not like iPhone 11 or something. How much more so is someone's experience with an older iPhone? How do you find iOS 18? How bloated do you find it? How's the touchscreen on your iPhone 16 around the camera control? The new camera button. Does it freeze? How's the refresh rate? Is it locked up to 80 Hertz? Is it capped? Or does it reach 120 on your Pro 16? Okay? This isn't right. This isn't Apple. If you're gonna start, and here's the thing too. When Steve did this, he would talk to you as a customer. He would appeal to your humanity, how impressed you are with the product. He's not talking to someone who is analyzing the device from an engineering standpoint, like today's keynotes seem to be. Like today, they're so focused on the details. And I'm giving you this big spreadsheet at the end, kind of like a spreadsheet, with all the specs. And you just look at the specs on the screen and you're just scrambling to grasp all of the specs they're talking to you about, right? Just so you can get a feel for, you're trying to absorb everything they're telling you. What happened to the Apple where Steve Jobs would be on stage and he'd say, "We're gonna make a stylus for the iPhone, right? We're gonna have a stylus, right?" No. Yuck. Stylus? Who wants a stylus? Nobody wants a stylus. Where's that Apple? We have 10 styluses. Our fingers. You're gonna use your finger. It was about simplicity. Simplifying. Not making things, not over-engineering things and making them more complex because you've got nothing substantial to ship to people. So you're nitpicking on the stuff that's already done well. Move on. Do something different already. Where is that? Where is that Apple? I was on a trip to... I'll get to that in a second. But if you don't have, like I said before, if your value proposition is not simple and crystal clear, you don't have a decent, proper selling point of a value proposition. The products, you're trying to sell the device by telling people all about the details of the specs. How about how the device makes you feel? Steve Jobs used to talk about the iPhone like he's talking about his baby. Watch the original iPhone keynote. He's talking about his baby to people. And he shows them how you unlock, how you slide to unlock and all that. Look at him. Look at the emotion he's talking with. He loves that product. He's not some businessman trying to sell it just to pump up share prices, which I understand. It's how business works. But where's the Apple that people know, that people loved, that people fell in love with, that started the story of Apple? Steve would be really disappointed right now. You know, the nitpicking on features and trying to sell features the way Apple is doing currently, the way they're trying to sell you the device by selling you a ton of different features to dazzle you into buying the product, that proves that the iPhone is now a commodity. If the iPhone was not a commodity, selling it would be way more compelling, using simpler terms and presented in a simpler, more appealing, more emotional way. Emotion combined with engineering prowess. But it wouldn't be such a hard sell that you have to splash, dump bucket loads of features on the screen, and people would have to go like, what? What's this? What's all that? To look at all the features that you're trying to use to sell the phone. It's become a commodity. That's why they're trying to sell the device by going into the nitpicky details of every single feature. Because it's a commodity, and that's how you sell commodities. You just go through the list, the laundry list of features. Not the way, it's not what made people fall in love with iPhone, right? I was in the Czech Republic many years ago, and I was watching, I was on they have these boat cruises in a river there. And I'm gonna say, take this with a grain of salt. It was a long time ago. I can't remember the details exactly, but basically the gist of it was, it's like a tour. So there's a tour guide. He's speaking on the boat, and you're sitting there, and drinking something and just listening to what the tour guide has to say about the country and the bridges. It's beautiful. It's mesmerizing. And we would approach a bridge, and the tour guide would say, "This bridge, you'll notice that this portion of the bridge is built with brown bricks, and the rest of the bridge is built with lighter colored bricks." Brown bricks and lighter colored bricks. The reason is something like this. This portion of the bridge was built, say, for example, from the 12th to the 13th century. And then there was a war, or there was something like a funding problem, some kind of issue. The building stopped. And then they resumed building with different colored bricks, say from the later on, or the 14th to the 16th century. Many, many years of building the bridge. But you build it well, and you make a proper product. Just like there was effort into making the iPhone. What it was, in the earlier years, the first iPhone wasn't perfect, but there was effort put into it. There was an idea behind it. There was a person who's the iPhone was his baby, called Steve Jobs, who believed in finishing the fence properly if you build it, the front side and the back side. Sometimes you have to go slower. I'm not saying slower in developing the technology. I'm saying slower in what you're offering the customer to buy. You develop the technology quickly. You have to be on top of it. You have to be at the forefront. But that's in terms of developing the tech. But you have to be thoughtful and intentional about the product that you're selling your customer. And when you have a product to sell to your customer, it needs to be worthwhile. Just like building a bridge in Prague back in the day. Took time, but it was an amazing result. A beautifully finished product, well-rounded product in its own category. That's how you should build an iPhone. That's how you should build any product that you want to like trailblaze the way and lead the way in its field, whether it's tech or whatever else. You have to build it right. Slow down, Apple. Slow down in the way, before you like slow down in terms of figure out what you're making first. Finish it and then release it. Why you're behind on AI is another story, but you don't release a half-baked product. Learn, again, like I was saying before, learn that idea. Learn from Mark Zuckerberg. He came out with the Orion glasses. He was like, it's great, but it's big. The display, the hologram you see isn't that sharp. It's expensive, it's bulky. We're gonna make it better and cheaper, and then we'll sell it. He's developing the tech. He's not behind in the tech. But he's telling you now, I'm not just gonna dump this on you really expensive. I'm telling you that I've made it. I'm gonna refine this, make it better and cheaper, and sell it. This is how the iPhone 16 should have been done. You don't want to be behind on AI? Well then, yeah, you shouldn't have been if it's such a big thing to you. But then again, like, if you're already late, then don't half-bake it and release it like this. What happened to the idea that Apple, they're not the first to the market, but when they release something, they do it the Apple way, they do it right. Yeah, you weren't the first to the market and you didn't do it right. You weren't the first to the market with the concept of AI on the smartphone, and you didn't do it right. You didn't even do it at all. You spoke about it and you haven't shipped it yet. Develop properly. Have things ready. Release a properly finished product. That's why I say Steve Jobs would hate Apple today for what they're doing and what they've done to his company and to his baby, the iPhone.